famed for that because they actually use an open fire which imparts all the smoke onto their barley, which gives it that real kind of heavy Scotch peaty taste. So what Jameson is famed for is using a closed kiln, which makes it very clean and very pure, which again relates back to making us a very, very mixable drink and very accessible. And by not using peat as well, it makes the rest of our flavours be able to come out a lot more, some of our lighter flavours, the flavours that we get from the barrels. So that's really the first thing. Guys, the second issue is that we actually, with our distillation, which is the second key process. Now, does anybody know really about distillation, or how that impacts on drinks as a whole? Well, basically the process of distillation is like a chemistry class. Everybody has to. Well, basically distillation is the process of really removing the alcohol from the water. And by distilling, you're really kind of removing harsher alcohols, removing impurities. And we at Jameson actually do it 3 times. So we do it once, which removes the alcohol. We take the heart of this alcohol and purify it again, and then we take the heart of that alcohol and then actually do it for a 3rd time. So by the end of it, you've got a very, very clean, pure, smooth whiskey. This compares with Scotches, which actually only distill twice, and your American whiskies, which actually only distill once. So that's why maybe when you taste Jack Daniels or in any other, American whiskey, you'll get that, if you even sniff it or taste it, you'll get that real burn at the back of your throat. Your eyes will kind of water and tingle, and your nose goes a bit funny if you smell it, because it is so, so strong, and there's a lot of ethanol and alcohol still left there because they haven't removed it in distillation. So that's really why Jameson is smoother and more accessible and a lighter whiskey, really. And our 3rd process then, guys, is our maturation process, which is really where the colour comes from and where our flavours come from. Now, the 2 barrels that Jameson uses are actually matured, seasoned barrels, which have actually seasoned bourbon before, and we take them from Kentucky. So we ship them back to Dublin, well, actually to Cork, where our distillery is now, and we use these bourbon barrels that have previously matured bourbon to mature Irish whiskey. And secondly, we use barrels that are taken from the south of Spain, which have previously matured sherry. Now, we actually commission a company in the south of Spain to mature sherry for us. Then we take the barrels off them, they can do whatever they want with the sherry, and we import them back to Cork again. So there's a lot of detail goes into our barrels. We have 4 master distillers, and one of these guys is actually in charge of travelling in the world and making sure we get the correct barrels for our whiskey. So this is really where our taste profile comes in. Because we use a seasoned bourbon and a seasoned sherry cask, you'll get a lot of toasted wood coming from the bourbon cask, but from the sherry cask you get a lot of kind of nutty sherry sweetness. And in our standard Jameson, we use predominantly the bourbon cask, but a 30% proportion of our sherry cask. So guys, if you can remember those 3 things, that we don't use peat, we are triple distilled, and we use a blend of bourbon cask and sherry cask, and hopefully you'll get those kind of flavours and that smoothness coming through. So drink away at your standard Jameson.